Hi viewers, this is Nisma Ameer with another episode of our amazing program Meet the CEO, जिसका मकसद है पाकिस्तान के कामयाब तरीन CEOs को डिस्कवर करना और आपसे मिलवाना, so that you can learn from their success and the struggles behind their journey. Today we're going to meet Mr. Zeeshan Hasib Baig, Country General Manager of Careem Pakistan. His will to do something for the country brought him back to Pakistan, leaving a well-settled job behind, embarking on one-of-a-kind journey with Careem, and eventually making it a huge success. Let's hear his journey. Hello, welcome to our show. It's a pleasure that you're here with us today.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
To start off, we always want to know a little more about our CEO in the spotlight. So, हमें बताएं थोड़ा सा अपनी professional life का, where did you start it all off? थोड़ा सा अपनी journey का हमें tell us a little more about it.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So, I am currently working as Country General Manager Careem, and my journey is basically into multiple phases. So, एक phase था in my childhood, my schooling and everything. So, I am born and raised in Pakistan. Spent most of the time traveling across Pakistan because my father was in Air Force. So, we kept on posting, getting posted to different areas. So, student life सारी उसी तरह गुजरी. University में I came to Lahore, so I did my engineering. और जब मैं when I was doing engineering, so I realized कि यार engineering probably I want to do something in commercial side. But anyways, I completed my engineering from FAST in Lahore. उसके बाद my first job was in Ericsson. So I was there for 2 years, and there was always something in me जो कि कहती थी कि यार I have to do something in the commercial business side. So I ended up applying to LUMS, got into the MBA program. 2 साल का MBA किया, and MBA के बाद my first job was in Middle East in the US, Deloitte. It's a consulting company. उधर चला गया, spent like good 6 years, 6.5 years there, traveling across Middle East, Europe and US. And एक वो बड़ा अंदर से there was always something I wanted to come back to Pakistan. So I decided in 2017 to come back to Pakistan, and this opportunity with Careem happened.
You just said that 6 years in Deloitte, and Deloitte is a very renowned international firm है और लोग they stick by it. So what made you make the career shift firstly, and then how did you cross paths with Careem?
Very interesting question. So I think the way I ended up in Deloitte is basically when you're doing MBA. So MBA mein everybody wants to get into management consulting. So that's how I applied. I was lucky I got into Deloitte. And these 6 years I spent in Deloitte were very amazing because I learned a lot.
Definitely.
But usme there was always a realization that I wanted to be close to Pakistan, and I wanted to do something very impactful. और दूसरा होता है कि in consulting, usually you are making presentations or इस type का होता है, but you're not into execution a lot. So ये 3 मेरे principles थे कि एक तो I wanted to come to Pakistan, do something which was very impactful, and it has to be something related to execution. So I decided कि यार मैं when Careem happened, so I decided कि Careem there's no second thought. This is the best opportunity. And by the way, at that time when I took this decision, because I took a huge pay cut, and it was not even comparable. But everybody used to say, "यार तुम पागल हो गए हो? You're leaving this company and you're going to a small company."
It's a big shift to make, because given it sounds very ideal that you're settled in the Middle East and the firm is big, the pay must be very very satisfactory. तो वो एक shift लेना बड़ा एक leap of faith होता है उसके.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest thing I realized was कि Careem से जो we've made the impact. Now we've created 800,000 jobs in Pakistan. Imagine कि मुझे अल्लाह ने वो वसीला बनाया to create so many jobs. यही मैं कहने लगी थी कि एक बड़ी unknown सी territory थी initially. So when you joined Careem, how was that experience like, and what value you were able to add to the whole startup? अच्छा, when I joined Careem, it was actually a shock for me. Reason ये था कि culturally it was very different from Deloitte. Deloitte, suit, boot, everything, and then you're coming to a startup. Nobody knew it. शुरू में मुझे याद है लोग कहते थे यार ये वो face cream तो नहीं है. So it was like that. But journey was really amazing. And in terms of bringing the value, I think consulting me you become very structured, process oriented. And when I came to Careem, I realized I was able to bring in a lot of processes, structured thought process to the entire company as well. So I think this is probably the biggest value.
I think you brought the seriousness जो required होती है to, क्योंकि usually digital और online ventures को लोग थोड़ा सा और जोन में लेते हैं ना, नॉट वेरी यू नो कंसल्टेंसी इज वेरी सीरियस, वेरी टेक्निकल, एंड देन आई थिंक इट्स अ गुड मर्ज ऑफ both the things. अच्छा, जब Careem, when it started off even in Pakistan, just as you said that people did not know anything about it and it was a very unknown phenomena, riding with a stranger, but it was very different. तो उस लिहाज से क्या challenges थे जो Careem ने face किए and how was the company able to deal with them?
बिल्कुल. So to be honest, if I reflect on this, there were so many challenges. सबसे बड़ा challenge तो ये था कि safety, right? Like people used to say कि यार कराची में रात 2 बजे कोई female, how can she travel with a stranger? Right? So safety was the biggest challenge. And the way we solved that was हमने एक बड़ा extensive process बनाया to make sure every captain that's onboarded on Careem is safety verified. Second was जब हमने लोगों की actually uptake आना शुरू हुई, people were using it, there was strong word of mouth, we realized कि गाड़ियाँ ही नहीं है. ठीक है हमारे पास. सो उसके ऊपर वी केम अप विद आवर ओन मॉडल, फ्रेंचाइज मॉडल. सो हमने फ्रेंचाइजेस बनाई ऑल अक्रॉस पाकिस्तान, वही सिमिलर टू जिसने टेलीकॉम्स में किया होता है. बिल्कुल. एंड कैप्टन्स यूज्ड टू कम देयर एंड रजिस्टर देमसेल्फ. एंड वी सॉ दैट वाज द मोमेंट जहाँ से यू नो फ्रॉम अ स्टार्टअप टू Careem started becoming a corporate. It was scaling every month, like double digit, 40-50% growth. Business was growing.
That must be very motivating as well.
It was super motivating. So I think these were the two biggest challenges. Ek to safety, and secondly, how do we acquire more and more captains?
Acha, Careem has always been associated with very attention-grasping marketing campaigns, or very different marketing campaigns hoti hain. How has that worked out for the brand?
Oh, okay. This is pretty interesting, and to be honest, because of all of these campaigns, a lot of time we have gotten into trouble as well. So there was one campaign, to give you an example, elections hone wale the, and every party was coming up with their slogans and everything, and we did a campaign, jispe some of the politicians got, you know, offended as well, and we were really in trouble. So we've always done very creative marketing campaigns, and I think this is something in the culture. So Careem mein, one of our value is being an owner and speaking up. So from grassroots level se we get ideas, you know, and we ask people to come up with crazy ideas. So for example, we made Wasim Akram CEO for a day, and we told him, you know, you take one decision, one big decision. So he took one decision, and you know it was famous everywhere. So I think it's in the culture. If you look at all our campaigns, the idea is to actually relate to, you know, whatever is happening socially. So it's not one way marketing कि जी ये campaign कर दी. So we call it कि हम काफी सारी campaigns crowdsource करते हैं. So people come up with ideas. हमारे customers भी हैं. And उन ideas से we come up with various campaigns. So there's a lot of creativity involved in all of this.
That's pretty cool. Digital evolution की बात करें for Pakistan, it is still very new. It is a new phenomena for us. तो आपके opinion में क्या ऐसे measures हैं जो मज़ीद लिए जा सकते हैं to, you know, augment and uplift this industry?
So I think there are a couple of things. एक तो जाहिर है connectivity needs to really improve. अभी भी अगर आप देखें, so ठीक है metropoles पे there's good coverage, but if you go into rural areas, वहाँ पे connectivity and access का बड़ा मसला है. So from government and telcos, this is something they can work on. Data penetration increase करने की ज़रूरत है. Secondly, government के लिए भी ना, a lot of these companies are new companies. There are no regulations around these companies. So for example, Careem को कोई IT कंपनी की कैटेगरी में प्लेस कर देता है, कोई ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में कर देता है. एवरी कैटेगरी हैज इट्स ओन कॉम्प्लिकेशन. सो गवर्नमेंट नीड्स टू रियलाइज कि यार ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस होना चाहिए, एंड यू नो दे शुड स्टार्ट रिकग्नाइजिंग दीज कंपनीज, और उनके लिए सेपरेट लॉज होने चाहिए. एंड थर्डली आई थिंक थोड़ा सा वो टाइम लगता है फॉर कस्टमर्स टू बिल्ड ट्रस्ट ऑन सर्टेन प्लेटफॉर्म, to get used to it.
This has changed people's lives. बड़ी दफ़ा होता है people let go opportunities के गाड़ी ड्राइवर क्या करेंगे ये वो, तो it has changed our lives definitely.
Absolutely, and let me tell you a couple of examples. एक तो every now and then we keep on getting feedback from females. कि यार आप लोगों ने तो हमारी जो ज़िंदगी आसान इसलिए कर दी है because we used to count on our husbands, fathers, you know, brothers. Now we're independent. And secondly, on the captain side, right? It has provided a lot of income opportunities to them. There was one captain we met a few years back, and he was literally, when he saw us, उसने recognize कर लिया कि ये करीम से ही है, and he started crying. So हमने पूछा कि यार क्या वजह है? So he said, you know, because of you guys, आप लोग वसीला बने, and you know, my family has changed. मेरी wife was going through a disease. I was able to support her. Wow. मेरे बच्चे अब स्कूल जाते हैं. That's so there are so many such instances.
I'm sure. COVID has been a situation that we all have been facing. अब कुछ हालात बेहतर हो रहे हैं, but अभी भी it's lingering on our heads. But when COVID hit, How did that affect the operations of Careem? And then how were you able to deal with it? और अभी भी क्या procedures और processes हैं जिनके साथ आप लोग cater कर रहे हैं to the clients?
बिल्कुल. COVID, I think I would call it a black swan event. Nobody had expected it. So same for Careem, and sadly Careem was primarily in transportation and service sector. So yes, so transportation was one sector which got really hit. So our revenues went down to by almost 90%. So it was really, really bad. But what we did was we very quickly realized that this has to turn around. So we came up with a strategy of super app. Super app basically idea is that this is one platform where you offer multiple services. कुछ Careem owned होंगी, कुछ by third parties होंगी. So we immediately launched food services because we saw कि online deliveries बहुत ज़्यादा होना शुरू हो गई हैं. So we launched food service. Delivery services, bike delivery service हमने लॉक की. Payment के ऊपर we came up with some products as well. So these verticals grew extremely well. Whereas ride hailing was suffering, so वो हम compensate कर रहे थे इधर से. On the ride hailing side, we then started looking at our cost structures. So we actually really optimized those cost structures, काफी lean किया overall operations को भी. So that's how I think we actually survived, and this turned out to be a very, very good strategy. And there are good global examples of such strategy as well. So I think this is how we managed it.
What does future hold for Careem? What's your vision? What are the plans for future?
Future looks very, very exciting. So हमने food launch कर चुके हैं, deliveries कर चुके हैं. And then there's a new concept जहाँ पे हम third parties के साथ we'll start giving them our platform.
Welcome back to our show. जो आप लोग कैप्टन्स हायर करते हैं, किन मराहल से गुजरने के बाद और कौन से सिक्योरिटी चेक्स को पास आउट करने के बाद वो जो है Careem कैप्टन के तौर पे हायर होते हैं?
अच्छा, सेफ्टी जैसा मैंने आपको ही बताया था कि सेफ्टी इज द टॉप मोस्ट प्रायोरिटी फॉर अस, एंड स्पेशली वुमेन सेफ्टी.
डेफिनेटली.
सो द आइडिया इज कि हमारी मदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स शुड बी एबल टू ट्रैवल इन Careem. सो कैप्टन साइड पे देयर मल्टीपल स्टेप्स. सो होता ही है कि कैप्टन कम्स इन, सबसे पहले तो उनकी कार की इंस्पेक्शन होती है. एंड एक्चुअली वी हैव रिसेंटली पार्टनर विद अनदर कंपनी. वो उनकी कार की सेफ्टी वेरिफिकेशन करते हैं कि इज इट सेफ, क्वालिटी अच्छी होनी चाहिए. देन देयर इज अ ट्रेनिंग प्रोसेस. उनको ट्रेनिंग में बताते हैं, डिफरेंट मॉड्यूल्स हैं ऑन हैरेसमेंट, इस टाइप के वो करते हैं. देन वी हैव पार्टनर विद अ थर्ड पार्टी सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी. सो डेटा ऑफ एवरी कैप्टन गोज टू दैट पार्टी, एंड वो उसकी वैलिडेशन करते हैं. सेफ्टी चेक्स होते हैं. दे आर पार्टनर्ड विद डिफरेंट LEAs एंड डिफरेंट क्रिमिनल डेटाबेसेस के अगेंस्ट चेक करते हैं. उसके बाद जो है द कैप्टन गेट्स एक्टिवेटेड फॉर द प्लेटफॉर्म. सो एक तो ये हो जाता है. फिर उसके अलावा हमारे देयर लॉट ऑफ अदर फीचर्स फॉर कस्टमर्स.
दैट्स व्हाट आई वांटेड टू आस्क कि अभी रिसेंटली भी, क्योंकि कभी कभार अनफॉर्चुनेट इंसिडेंट्स हो भी जाते हैं, इट्स ओनली नेचुरल, तो उस लिहाज से कोई ऐसे पर्टिकुलर फीचर्स, सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स आप लोगों ने इनिशिएट किए हैं जो मजीद हमारे जो राइडर्स हैं, जो क्लाइंट्स हैं, उनकी सिक्योरिटी को इंश्योर करें?
बिल्कुल, एब्सोल्युटली. इसमें हमारे पास 3-4 फीचर्स हैं. एक तो नंबर 1, देयर इज अ सेफ्टी बटन. सो इफ एनी राइडर गॉड फॉरबिड फील्स अनसेफ, वो बटन दबाए and it gets connected to our safety team. वो immediately on ground उधर on location पहुंचेंगे.
अच्छा.
ठीक है. Secondly, there is a masking feature, call masking. So अगर आप Careem बुक करती हैं and you don't want your number कि किसी को नजर आए, so आप वो use कर सकती हैं.
Call anonymously.
Exactly, you call anonymously. And thirdly, there is a tracking feature. So you can share your live location with your loved ones. आप वो share कर सकते हैं. So these are primarily features जो कि हम कर रहे हैं.
How is Careem coping with the competition and how do you manage to stay on top of your game?
Couple of things. Yes, competition is really emerging. Ride hailing में काफी ज़्यादा we've seen new players coming in. एक तो ऐसा हुआ, बहुत सारे नए players आए, they could not survive because customers were not trusting them. So ride hailing में the most important thing is safety and trust that Careem has developed. So I think we are making sure that we go an extra mile to make sure we're giving a good experience in terms of quality of car and a very safe experience. So I think that's our USP, and that's where we continue to work.
What does future hold for Careem? What's your vision? What are the plans for future?
The future looks very, very exciting because now going forward, जैसा मैंने super app का concept बताया, so the idea is कि we'll not only be in ride hailing space, we are launching a lot of multiple other verticals as well. So हमने food launch कर चुके हैं, deliveries कर चुके हैं, and then there's a new concept जहाँ पे हम third parties के साथ we'll start giving them our platform. So imagine कि एक नया startup है, they want to start something, like Careem उन्हें कह रहा है कि आप आ जाओ, we will give you our tech We'll give you access to the customers as well. You launch the service, you manage the operations.
That's pretty
cool.
So
for the startup ecosystem, this is going to be a game changer.
Also, I think people are now very much well aware and are very much well accustomed to the digital evolution, or everything has become digital and people have accepted it with open arms in that way, definitely. अच्छा मुझे बताएं, with so much going on and with so much on your shoulders, कभी कभार होता है कि कोई stepping stone आ जाता है या ऐसा कोई phase आता है जो आपने नहीं expect किया होता, तो ऐसे phase में how do you keep yourself motivated and how do you keep on going?
बिल्कुल, आई थिंक ऐसे फेजेस तो अक्सर आते रहते हैं बिकॉज़ वी आर इनटू ऑपरेशंस, सो कोई ना कोई चीज़ें चलती रहती हैं. बट जनरली कपल ऑफ थिंग्स. सो वन इज, कभी भी ऐसा फेज लाइफ में आया ना तो आई वुड एक्चुअली थिंक यार व्हाट इज द बिगर इम्पैक्ट देयर वी आर मेकिंग. सो अगर करीम में कोई अप्स एंड डाउन्स आए हैं लेट्स से, तो आई वुड एक्चुअली रियलाइज यार we're creating jobs, we're simplifying lives of people.
Definitely.
So I would always look at the bigger picture. And secondly, you know, I also sometimes try to distract myself. So I'm very much into sports. I'm into adventure riding as well. So उन चीज़ों की तरफ जाके.
Why don't you share your recent adventure that you just did?
बिल्कुल, absolutely. Recently, I think we did a trip to Hunza. It was a bike trip from Lahore to Hunza directly. So वापसी पे it was like 18-20 hours bike ride.
Okay.
So it's pretty adventurous. There's one area.
Pretty dangerous also.
Pretty dangerous also, but to be honest, when you explore a country in the bike, like it's a different feeling.
I'm sure.
So गाड़ी में you can never relate to that. और वो, I think there's a lot of learning as well.
Definitely.
You know, you meet people. वो आप ढाबे वाले के पास खड़े होके चाय पी रहे हैं.
बिल्कुल.
So you know, people would come and see your bike. Or they would talk to you. So I think it's an amazing experience, to be honest.
That's great. आपका अपना management style क्या है? How is a normal day at office for you? How do you interact with your employees? Generally, leadership style किस तरह का?
So Careem में we usually say, and this is my belief as well, like we call it servant leadership.
Okay.
So we're here to serve our colleagues, our customers, and our captains. So मेरा भी style इसी तरह है. Alhamdulillah, very humble. ठीक है. So usually, you know, very open. Anybody in office can reach out to me directly, call me. You know, they discuss their personal issues as well.
Okay.
So I think we have, but again at the same time, जहाँ पे if we have to take tough calls, like I don't hesitate to take those calls as well. So while the concept is I'm serving all the stakeholders I'm working with, but at the same time I want to make sure things are getting in the right direction. और वो एक vision सही तरह communicate किया हुआ है so that everybody can run behind that vision.
आपका क्या opinion है of the female role in the workforce, और Careem में क्या equal opportunities दी जाती हैं? Also a little on the female drivers, because हमने देखा है कि अब एक रुझान बना है ख़वातीन का भी कि वो कैप्टन्स होती हैं गाड़ी में, बट अभी भी वो कुछ कम है, तो थोड़ा सा उस पर एलैबोरेट करें.
बिल्कुल. आई थिंक एक तो जिससे मैंने पहले ही बात की वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट की, लाइक वी आर स्ट्रॉन्ग बिलीवर यार ये करीम आज जो भी है ना, लॉट ऑफ रोल इज प्लेड बाय वुमेन. हमारी एक्चुअली मेजॉरिटी कस्टमर्स आर फीमेल. ठीक है. सो इट इज सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम अस. नाउ स्टार्टिंग विद आवर लीडरशिप, हमारी लीडरशिप में द जेंडर बैलेंस इज सुपर अमेजिंग. और बहुत सारी की रोल्स पे देयर आर फीमेल लीडर्स. सो आवर पीपल टीम, एचआर टीम जो होती है हमारी, उसके अलावा गवर्नमेंट रिलेशंस, लीगल, कम्युनिकेशन, these are all female leaders. And honestly, there are researches, and we've actually seen it in Careem. If the gender diversity is good, like you end up performing well as well. आपकी performance में ही फर्क पड़ता है. So we're seeing that. इसी तरह captain side पे भी we started this program where we were the first one in Pakistan to launch Women Captain Project. So although उस पर बहुत ज़्यादा uptake नहीं आया, but we have more than around 1,500 female captains as well. So उनका भी we try कि उनका भी ख्याल रखा जाए. Earlier there were separate incentive packages for them. Post COVID थोड़ा सा हमें वो change करना पड़ा, but idea is we are also thinking again on these lines कि इसको दोबारा से हम we will revamp.
Plus I think slowly and steadily this idea will grow on people, on women especially, because it's very refreshing when you would book a ride and there is a woman captain.
It is a very delightful experience. मैंने खुद experience किया female captains के साथ, and literally like ड्राइविंग वाइज भी they are as good as men. और वैसे भी I think it's a very gives a very soft image.
वो जो एक notion है ना कि men are better drivers.
No, not anymore.
वो भी थोड़ा सा जो है break away होता है with this. Given at a young age, you've achieved a lot, definitely with your hard work and effort. But sometimes इंसान के जहन में ये सोच आती है कि I have achieved so much, and it sometimes it might get your head. तो कैसे अपने आप को grounded रखते हैं और कैसे सोचते हैं कि नहीं अभी तो मैंने और भी बहुत कुछ achieve करना है? How does that thought process work for you?
Yeah, I think absolutely. एक तो first of all, I still feel there's a long way to go. Like हम जैसे लोगों को, हमारी जनरेशन को, वी हैव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू डू अ लॉट फॉर पाकिस्तान. नाउ इन माई, एक तो मैं नेचर वाइज आई एम, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, आई थिंक आई एम वेरी हम्बल एंड दैट्स व्हाट पीपल अराउंड मी से दैट एज वेल. Secondly, we make sure we are very close to our stakeholders. जैसा captains हैं, so we would actually, कल जैसा हमारा एक meetup था captains के साथ भी, we met them yesterday. So the idea is to stay grounded, stay close to them. You know, we don't hesitate at all. Like I can sit with any captain, हम नाश्ते वगैरह उनके साथ कर रहे होते हैं. You know, we're drinking coffees together as well. So that's something which I think keeps me to the ground and keep me to the reality. Definitely. And I think वो to serve others and to feel their pain, actually it makes you humble itself. Definitely. So that's how I try to stay grounded.
अच्छा, given we were discussing the marketing campaigns and all, अपनी कोई personal favorite marketing campaign बताएं Careem की.
There are two campaigns जो कि which are very close to my heart. Okay. एक तो हमने campaign की थी which was basically बारिश हो रही थी बहुत ज़्यादा लाहौर में. अच्छा. And there was almost sense of emergency, people were not able to move from one place to another place. So हमने टीम को बुलाया. अच्छा. यार ये बारिश हो रही है. Instantly उसी वक्त. Wow. We were by the way in office, लाहौर office में था, हमारा दूसरा office था. अच्छा. So हमने कहा कि यार बारिश हो रही है, like how can we actually help our customers? अच्छा. Right? So we came up with a campaign. उसमें हमने उसका नाम दिया कार टाइप, हमने एक लॉन्च की करीम बोट के नाम से. अच्छा. Right? So the idea was, और हमने अपने सारे कैप्टन्स को बैकएंड में कॉल किया कि जिन के पास SUVs हैं या ऐसी गाड़ियाँ हैं जो बारिश तंग नहीं करेगी, वो सब आ जाएं और रजिस्टर करें. अच्छा. सो उस पे वी सॉ ह्यूज अपटेक और बहुत ज़्यादा वायरल भी हुई. इसी तरह जो नेक्स्ट कैंपेन है, एक्चुअली इट्स नॉट अ मार्केटिंग कैंपेन, बट दिस इज, आई वुड से, वी एक्चुअली सपोर्टेड अ सोशल कॉज. हुआ ये था कि वाज I think 2017 March something or February, there was a bomb blast in Lahore, and people wanted blood. ठीक है. Oh, I remember that. So yes, so it was really scary, and हम लोग सारे, our team जितनी भी थी, they gathered and they said कि यार हम क्या किया जा सकता है. And we realized कि यार blood नहीं मिल रहा था उन लोगों को. Services hospital में वो सारे जा रहे थे, and they were not getting blood. So immediately our team came up with an idea कि यार why don't we crowdsource it, right? हम अपने captains को कहते हैं कि हम communication निकालेंगे customers को. Anyone who wants to donate blood uses Careem and go there for free. I remember this, by the way. And this went viral, ballistic, right? और हमारे पास the way captains turned up, और वो जो जज्बा था ना, it was super amazing. अच्छा. ठीक है. And they came up and उन्होंने आके register करवाया, and lot of customers actually donated blood, and उसके ऊपर there were a lot of appreciation as well. Different leaders की उन्होंने tweets भी की, and went really viral. Any such decision that you always feel is very difficult for you to take? कोई ऐसा फैसला या decision जो मुश्किल लगता हो लेना? Yes, so I think the biggest decision that I took was probably Middle East से मूव करना टू पाकिस्तान. बिल्कुल. और बहुत बड़ी कंपनी से मूव करना टू समथिंग which was not even known. Definitely. और to give you an example, जब मैंने ये मूवमेंट कर दी, so one fine morning my wife was very upset, थोड़ी सी परेशान सी थी. मैंने कहा क्या हुआ? So she was about to cry कि यार उस ज़माने में you were wearing suits and you were used to interact with CEOs as a consultant, और अब तुम हर वक्त कभी ड्राइवर को ये हो गया, कभी ट्रांसपोर्टर स्ट्राइक हो गई, so I feel really embarrassed. ठीक है. Now माशाल्लाह she knows. Must be very proud of you. She's very proud कि she's seen. But how were you वैसे वाकई how were you able to take that leap of faith? Was there some sort of कह लो gut feeling थी या कोई instinct थी? Because ये बात तो है कि from Deloitte to something that is a completely unknown territory, कुछ तो होगा आपके जहन में जब आपने डिसीजन लिया. I think एक तो उस जमाने में probably my risk appetite was much higher. ठीक है. नई शादी हुई भी थी, बच्चा भी बहुत छोटा था, so my risk appetite was higher, but there were 2-3 things. One, I was always very sure, शायद वो फौजियों के बच्चे थोड़े ऐसे भी होते हैं, I am very Pakistani at heart, and patriotic. I was absolutely patriotic, and I was even when I was in Middle East, मैं हर 2-3 महीने बाद पाकिस्तान आता था. So your heart was not there. My heart was always in Pakistan, so I wanted to do something for Pakistan. अच्छा. ठीक है. I wanted to be close to my family, and जो self fulfillment मिलती है ना मुझे, to do something for Pakistan, I was not getting it. ठीक है. I was learning a lot. It was a very high flying career. उन्होंने मुझे choose भी कर लिया होता to international movement to US. ठीक है. But like for some reason I wasn't really happy. I wanted to come to Pakistan. So I think, and then Careem happened, so it was an immense opportunity.
I think it was just meant to be.
It was meant to be. वही कहते हैं ना कि
in your case,
वो अल्लाह ताला अगर आपकी नीयत ठीक है,
बिल्कुल,
so things automatically come your way.
And I think whenever you have the bigger good in mind, though eventually you always find the success in it too.
Yes.
आपकी inspiration कौन रहा है? Professionally, personally, who has been your role model?
I think two. One, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Like the reason for that is the guy was extremely honest, man of integrity.
Definitely.
And secondly, he was very inspirational. उन्होंने एक vision दिया.
बिल्कुल.
Because nobody could have even thought about it, and then he made that vision happen as well.
Yeah.
So बहुत ज़्यादा inspire करते हैं वो मुझे. And secondly, I would say personally, present life में my father. Like वो भी उनका भी है कि man of integrity, very very hardworking, self-made. Like zero से when he left Air Force, like he had probably 15-20,000 rupees in his pocket.
अच्छा.
और उसके बाद he did his own business, which was a success. हम सबको अच्छी education दी, अच्छी तरबियत दी. So I think these are two role models.
Any favorite destination that you have in Pakistan?
बिल्कुल. It's Gulmit, Hunza. So it's beautiful. Like if I have to retire, I would retire either of these places.
Welcome back from the break. Achha, now we have a set of questions where we just want to know the personal side of yours, और थोड़ा lighter note पे. तो मुझे बताएं कि जब चीज़ें बहुत stressful हो जाती हैं, what do you do to like break off from the stress?
Okay, so I think जब बहुत stressful हो जाती हैं दो तीन चीज़ें. एक तो I try to take out my bike.
Okay.
And ride somewhere.
हाँ.
ठीक है.
ये तो आपने हमें बताया.
एक तो मैं ये करता हूँ. दूसरा I try कि tennis पे चला जाऊँ.
Okay.
So tennis is by the way a big stress reliever for me because when I play tennis, वो जब हिट कर रहा होता तो फीलिंग होती है कि यार सब नेगेटिव एनर्जी निकल रही है.
सही.
और थर्ड इज आई ट्राई टू देन स्पेंड टाइम विद माय फैमिली, स्पेशली माय टू सन्स.
डेफिनेटली.
सो आई थिंक ये मेरे बिगेस्ट स्ट्रेस रिलीवर्स इन माय लाइफ.
सो यू आर एन एडवेंचर एंड स्पोर्ट्स लवर देन.
यस बिल्कुल. एंड इस पे जैसा मैंने पाकिस्तान का बताया, लाइक माय नेक्स्ट 2 years का मैंने ये गोल रखा हुआ है. इनफैक्ट मेरी फैमिली वगैरह कहती है अच्छा टर्की चलते हैं, इधर जाते हैं इधर जाते हैं. So I'm like, nahin, next 2 years I'm only exploring Pakistan.
Zabardast.
So that's the idea.
I think that is one good thing that COVID has brought, that we started exploring our own country. और फिर ये realization हुई है लोगों को कि कितने treasures हैं जिनको हम miss out कर रहे थे और हम उनको importance नहीं दे रहे थे, जो हमारी country के अंदर ही available हैं. तो उस लिहाज से any favorite destination that you have in Pakistan?
बिल्कुल. Well, actually on your point as well, like I've traveled a lot, Switzerland, ये वो सारी countries, but जो पाकिस्तान में है ना, like it is unmatchable.
अच्छा.
So my favorite destination, it keeps on changing वैसे, लेकिन internationally it's Turkey. I like Istanbul a lot because of the cultural mixed spots जबरदस्त है. It's a beautiful country
and you can eat whatever you want,
yes,
guilt free.
Yes. And locally it's Gulmit, Hunza.
अच्छा.
So it's beautiful. Like if I have to retire, I would retire either of these places.
Hunza I think is a beautiful place to be. What is your idea of happiness?
अच्छा, my idea of happiness is एक तो my belief is कि happiness कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है कि आप बोलेगी या एक धमाका होगा happiness. ठीक है. Happiness is your state of mind, right? So my idea of happiness is spending time with my loved ones. ठीक है. And actually doing something good for society in any form and shape. So I think this is my idea of perfect happy life. And on top of it, if I can play tennis and have my bike with me,
biking to Hunza,
so that's ultimate happiness.
Ultimate happiness. Great. अच्छा, मुझे पता है you seem a very humble and a very calm person. तो उस लिहाज से गुस्सा जो है, गुस्से के तेज हैं नहीं हैं, और अगर गुस्सा आ जाए तो फिर what do you do? What do you do about it?
I think गुस्सा आता भी है, probably आता भी है, लेकिन
I think it's only natural. But how do you react?
Generally मैं कोई बहुत abrupt reaction मेरा नहीं होता usually. So usually ये होता है कि अगर बहुत गुस्सा भी आया है तो probably थोड़ी सी सुना दूंगा, लेकिन फिर उसके बाद थोड़ा ज़रा रुक जाऊंगा and reflect करूंगा. And a lot of time ये होता है कि अगर मैं किसी को बोल भी देता हूँ ना, तो बाद में I feel really bad. So बाद में ज़रूर जाके मनाता हूँ या कि सॉरी कह देता हूँ. So but यही है कि I think वो कहते हैं ना emotional mastery. So I feel कि I'm able to control my emotions.
That's great.
So चाहे वो बहुत ज़्यादा extreme खुशी है, चाहे वो बहुत ज़्यादा extreme गुस्सा है, so I feel I'm comfortable controlling those emotions.
अच्छा, given that you have a very busy schedule or always on your toes, how do you balance out, you know, your professional time and then your family time? कैसे balance out करते हैं?
अच्छा, time management is probably one thing which comes in my gene.
Okay.
Probably father Air Force में तो वो शुरू से सुबह उठो बेटा इकट्ठे नाश्ता करेंगे वो देखा है. So I think that's one thing which is good. So I usually wake up early in the morning. सुबह उठ के थोड़ी कभी cycling, कभी gym, you know, spending time with my family. We do breakfast together.
अच्छा, अभी भी?
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
That's very impressive.
Yes, and सुबह पे फिर usually होता है people, you know, start working around 10 a.m. 10:30. By 10:30 like I've already done a lot of work office related. So बाकी जो office का फिर दिन होता है ना, so वो I socialize, time भी निकल आता है, so I'm able to manage it. And usually, you know, I'm a strong believer on delivery based productivity rather than, you know, spending more time in office. So हमारा करीम का भी culture ऐसा है कि as long as you're delivering well, we don't worry कि 9 to 5 कर रहे हो या पूरी रात बैठ के काम कर रहे हो. Work from
home भी चल रहा है.
Absolutely. So I think work life balance I would say is good.
आपकी पर्सनल फेवरेट इनोवेशन या कोई ऐप जो इस अरसे में पिछले 5 सालों में कोई सी भी हो सकती है, डिजिटल इनोवेशन, वो क्या होगी?
सबसे पहले तो करीम.
हाँ, वो तो हमें पता है कि आपने यही कहना है, ऑब्वियसली वो है भी, बट इसके अलावा
आई थिंक एक तो टेस्ला. ठीक है, सो टेस्ला देखे ना, सो इट इज समथिंग रियली इंस्पायरिंग. सिमिलरली जो स्पेस एक्स है, ठीक है, सो दैट्स एन अमेजिंग प्रोजेक्ट कि यार आप मार्स पे जाके जिंदगी गुजारें उधर, मतलब कॉन्सेप्ट इज दैट. सो आई थिंक दीज टू आई फील आर बिगेस्ट इनोवेशन probably I've heard in past 5 years.
Definitely.
So these two,
that's pretty cool. Hopefully you can own one Tesla one day.
And some place in Mars.
Generally आप लोगों के hiring procedures क्या हैं? And specifically, you know, what do you look into in a young professional जब कोई आता है आपके पास for a job interview? तो ऐसे क्या 2-3 elements हैं जो आपकी attention grasp करते हैं?
जी, अच्छा, hiring procedure में I think हमारा by the way थोड़ा creative और different hiring procedure है. एक तो position advertise होती है.
सही.
And then there's a series of interview.
Okay.
Every person who's being hired in Pakistan, manager and above, I make sure कि एक तो उसका interview मैं भी करूँ.
अच्छा.
And then we have a stage called bar raiser interview. Idea is कि उस पे bar raiser interview.
Okay.
So the idea is कि उस बंदे को हम फिर culturally evaluate करते हैं on values. We are very particular about our values. ठीक है, so उस पे evaluate करते हैं.
That's very different.
It's very different. It's very different. And then a lot of times there are some case studies as well.
Okay.
So I think हमारे interview process is like that.
अच्छा.
And secondly, personally, what I look at candidate is couple of things. एक तो ज़ाहिर है outside of the experience. Usually मैं ये देखता हूँ कि extra curricular में कितना अच्छा है. Because I feel कि every single person, मतलब हर उस बंदे का जिसका कोई passion है ना, it means कि you know उनमें ड्राइव बहुत ज़्यादा
होगी. बिल्कुल.
ठीक है, सो वो एक मैं बड़ा देखता हूँ. एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर थोड़ा देखता हूँ कि you know we don't want people जो कि बस बहुत ही नर्डीज हों. ठीक है, we want street smart people. ठीक है, and then of course educational background and you know family background, you know all of that.
वो तो conventional measures है ना जो देखने ही होते हैं.
But usually मैं particularly ये दो चीज़ें ज़रूर देखता हूँ कि यार बंदा किसी चीज़ के बारे में passionate है या नहीं, and secondly extra curricular में कैसा है. These two things.
So all the young individuals should take note of this. Extra curriculum and passion for something. Great. Now to sum up our conversation, अभी तक आपने जो journey अपनी fulfill की है, a long way to go, hopefully inshallah. But अभी तक, what has your journey taught you?
My 3 biggest learnings. वैसे तो काफी कुछ सीखा है, मार शार्क भी खाई है, वो ups and downs आते रहते हैं. But 3 biggest learnings are number 1, honesty. Honesty is something जो कि ना आपकी आइडेंटिटी बन जाती है. So everybody should make sure कि you're doing your work with integrity and you're honest with your work. ठीक है, people वो कहते हैं ना कि आपसे आपके loved ones भी खुदा न सा जा सकते हैं, material things भी जा सकती हैं, सब कुछ जा सकता है. Honesty is something nobody can steal from you, right?
Definitely.
So integrity and honesty is the first learning that I've learned. Second is I think I strongly believe कि one should have the right mindset. और इसकी एग्जाम्पल मैं इस तरह देता हूँ कि when I was in Deloitte, there were people with me from Harvard, MIT, and you know शुरू में तो मैंने कहा मैं नहीं कर सकूँगा, ठीक है, but eventually I learned कि I had the right attitude, so I never, मुझे कभी बुरा नहीं लगा कि यार कोई फोटोकॉपी का काम कह रहा है या स्लाइड फॉर्मेटिंग का कर रहा है, ठीक है, so I was happy doing you know all kinds of work. मेरे लिए कोई छोटा बड़ा काम नहीं है. So I think that mindset and that attitude is the second learning. Or third is you know corporate learning is if you really want to succeed, build an amazing team. It's all about people, you know, build a connect with them, hire the best people. As a rule of thumb, my rule of thumb is that my N-1 should be much more competent than me. Okay, so I think these are 3 biggest learnings of my professional career and from personal life as well.
कोई ऐसा मैसेज या एडवाइस जो हमारे जितने यंग प्रोफेशनल्स हैं जो अपना करियर शुरू कर रहे हैं, अभी पढ़ रहे हैं, उनके लिए कोई ऐसा मैसेज जो उनको बेनिफिट करे, वो क्या होगा?
बिल्कुल सही है. सो आई थिंक फ्यू मैसेजेस एक्चुअली. एक तो सबसे पहला मेरा ये है, एंड स्पेशली टू पाकिस्तानीज हु आर सिटिंग आउटसाइड, वो ये है कि ऑलवेज स्टे कनेक्टेड टू योर रूट्स. आई हैव सीन अ लॉट ऑफ पाकिस्तानीज बाहर जाते हैं और बड़ा दुख होता था मुझे कि जी 10 लोग बैठे हुए हैं हर तरह के, एंड यू नो पाकिस्तान में ये मसला है, करप्शन है, यू नो द प्रॉब्लम इज हर जगह मसले हैं.
बिल्कुल
ठीक है, यू पिक एनी प्लेस इन द वर्ल्ड देयर आर इश्यूज देयर, बट पाकिस्तान हमारे घर है, इसका ये मतलब नहीं आप अपने घर को बाहर जाके बदनाम करें.
बिल्कुल
ठीक है. सो stay connected to your roots. This is my topmost message सारी youth के लिए, and a lot of youth hopefully will go outside, घूमे फिरेंगे भी, तो this is something that they should keep close to them. Secondly, I think जिसका मैंने attitude का भी बताया था कि the right mindset is very very important. You know, competence. If I have to choose somebody, I might compromise on competence, but not on attitude. ठीक है, so इतना important है मेरे लिए to have the right mindset. I've seen people जो के you know बड़े यंग होते हैं, एंड you know उनको छोटा सा कोई काम कहते हो तो कहेंगे यार ये तो मेरा मैंडेट ही नहीं है.
ये बहुत ज़्यादा है.
दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली अ डिजास्टर.
ट्रू.
एंड थर्ड थिंग इज, एंड विच आई फील के इसके बारे में बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग फीलिंग है मुझे, डू नॉट रन आफ्टर मनी. ठीक है, आई हैव सीन पीपल शुरू में करियर के पहले 4-5 सालों में जी अच्छा नहीं, इतनी सैलरी इधर मिल रही है, इतनी मिल रही है, ज़्यादा सैलरी वाली में जाएंगे. डू नॉट डू दैट. दैट्स द वर्स्ट थिंग यू कैन प्रॉब्ली डू विद योरसेल्फ.
बिल्कुल.
ठीक है, सो लुक एट द इम्पैक्ट यू आर गोइंग टू मेक, लुक एट द अपॉर्चुनिटी जनरली, एंड पहले करियर के 6-7 साल में तो पैसों को देख ही ना.
सही.
ठीक है ना. बिल्कुल.
ये काफ़ी सब्र देने वाली एडवाइस है कि थोड़ा सब्र रखें.
बिल्कुल. एंड दिस इज नॉट ओनली थ्योरेटिकल, यू नो, मैंने आई हैव लिव्ड दिस. मेरी जब फर्स्ट जॉब थी तो वो 15,000 रुपये पे थी, और मुझे उस ज़माने में 45,000 की भी ऑफर आई हुई थी, बट वो नहीं ली, ये ली. फिर डिलॉयट वाला हुआ, करीम आया. यू नो, सो डू नॉट रन आफ्टर मनी इन योर करियर. Hopefully money follows you automatically.
Thank you so much, Zeeshan. This was a very inspirational conversation, and we learned a lot, and thank you so much for taking out so much time for us.
Thank you for actually providing this opportunity to me, and it was really really engaging. Thank you very much.
So this was our conversation with Mr. Zeeshan Baig, a truly inspirational and motivational conversation, especially for all the young individuals who aspire to make a career in the digital industry. For more such conversations, keep on watching our show, Meet the CEO, only on Discover Pakistan.